Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Before reciting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Shri Vyasadeva, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. By regular attendance in the classes on Srimad Bhagvatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः. Hare Krishna, dear friends, Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining on this auspicious day of Ekadashi. Madhavatithi Bhakati Janani Bhajana Anukula. So these dates, like Ekadashi and the appearance days of the Lord, are very, very potent. They are called Bhakti Janani. That means they are like the mother of devotion. So the best way is to engage more in chanting, reading, hearing in the association of devotees. So we are so blessed and fortunate that we are getting this chance to read Bhagavatam with all of you, such sincere Vaishnavas. So we are reading Canto 8, Chapter 1, about the Manus, the administrators, so and of the universe. So we read and discussed about the four Manus in brief. And then in the last text, number 30, we read that how Lord Hari, as the Manvantar avatar, saved Gajendra from the mouth of the crocodile. And then Shukdev Goswami is speaking this to Parikshit Maharaj. So basically, if you notice that he discussed these things quite fast. Okay, he was the Indra, he was the Rishi, and this happened. He helped in how he taught brahmacharya, how he killed the different miscreants, and then he said, okay, this Hari killed the crocodile and saved the elephant. Now let's see what happens next from text number 31. We are till text number 30 last time, so we'll read next verse 31. Shri-Rajo Uvacha Badarayana etatte shrotum icchamahe vayam Harir-yatha gaja patim graha prastam amumuchat. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. King Parikshit said, my Lord Badarayani, we wish to hear from you in detail how the king of the elephants, when attacked by a crocodile, was delivered by Hari. So there is no purport to this verse. So who is speaking this? The Raja Uvacha. The Raja is King Parikshit, who is hearing from Shukdev Goswami. And where are they hearing? Where is this conversation happening?
On the side of the river of the Ganges, near the Ganges.
Near the Ganges. Okay. Elaborate. Can someone say more? Because Ganges is quite big.
Near Hastinapur.
Hastinapur. Okay, very nice. Thank you so much. So, Shukdev Goswami was asked to elaborate more. So, a great quality of a sincere seeker is shown here. What is the quality? He likes to hear in detail. That's what Srila Parikshit Maharaj is saying, kindly describe this aspect in great detail. Shrotum ichhamahe. I have a great desire to hear. So, this hunger is very, very good. Spiritual hunger is good. His Holiness Adhanath Swami Maharaj explains that if someone is not hungry, one may eat all the nice foods, organic nuts and fruits and veggies and stuff. But if there is no hunger in the belly, nothing will be absorbed. So, spiritual hunger, Parishit Maharaj, now, just to keep things in perspective, already 3 days of hearing he has done. He is not saying, well, now it's time for prasadam. Now, just okay, tell in brief, fatafat, so that I can go for prasad. Now he's telling, I want to hear this pastime in great detail. Just don't tell me the summary. That's a sign of a sincere seeker, which Parikshit Maharaj is showing through his example. He is very, very eager, very, very inquisitive. This is the real thing to make spiritual progress. Tatra lolyam iti mulyam. So let's see what happens next. Any other comments or questions in this text? Quite straightforward. Okay. Yes, Nandini Mataji, you want to read next verse?
Yes, Prabhu, Dandavats. Do you want to share the screen, Prabhu?
Sure.
Thank you, Prabhu. And Dandavat Pranam devotees. Tat kathasu mahat punyam dhanyam swasta yanam shubham yatra yatro uttam shloko bhagwan giyate hari. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Any literature or narration in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Uttama Shloka, is described and glorified is certainly great,
Hare
pure,
Krishna, are you speaking?
glorious,
Yeah.
auspicious, and all good. Can you hear me, Prabhu? Okay. The
Anyone else here?
Krishna consciousness movement is spreading all over the world simply by describing Krishna. We have published many books, including Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in 17
Hare
volumes.
Krishna. Is it audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, we are able to hear Mataji.
400 pages each, as well as Bhagavad Gita, the Nectar of Devotion. We are also publishing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in 60 volumes. Wherever a speaker holds discourses from these books and an audience hears him, this will create a good and auspicious situation. Therefore, the preaching of Krishna consciousness must be done very carefully by the members of the Krishna consciousness movement, especially the sannyasis. This will create an auspicious environment. So, of course, Krishna is described as Uttama Shloka, one who is glorified. And glorified is certainly great, pure, glorious, auspicious, and all good. So, Krishna, just taking Krishna's name, all good, auspicious can appear. And Krishna himself is all auspicious, all good, all glorious, pure, and is certainly the greatest. And then Prabhupada is saying that his books are glorifying Krishna, and that's why everybody is getting benefited. And Krishna consciousness movement is spreading all over the world. So this is the most glorious work of our Acharya, that he took the movement all over the world. And he translated so many books, giving up sleeps in the night. And so we are so fortunate to be able to hear in assembly of devotees led by such a nice, eloquent speaker. And Prabhupada is saying this will always create a good and auspicious situation. Therefore, the preaching must be done very carefully. And so we have a duty, and as well as we need to be careful. And we have been given this mercy to spread Krishna consciousness. And he's saying all sukhada, auspicious. It will create an auspicious atmosphere. Back to you, Prabhu. Thank you, Dandavat.
Thank you, Mataji. Sorry, my speaker was for some time got turned off. Sorry. Thank you so much for such nice reflections and reading. So Parikshit Maharaj is is actually expressing his eagerness and hunger by sharing the importance of or glories of Harikatha. So that's again shows his eagerness, shows his sincerity, shows his spiritual hunger. That what happens when wherever Harikatha is happening, everything is auspicious, everything is glorious. So we must do our best. And there are many verses in the Bhagavatam which glorify the Bhagavatam, which glorify the importance of hearing. So it is like the core of bhakti. Any other comments, questions anyone has? Okay, Amsilastro, you want to read?
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam everyone. Text 33. Shri Sutta Uvacha Parikshitaivam Satu Padrayani Prayo Vishtena Katashu Chodita Uvacha Vipra Pratinandya Parthivam Mudha Muninam Sadashisma Srinvatam. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Sri Suta Goswami said, O Brahmanas, when Parikshit Maharaj, who was awaiting impending death, thus requested Sukadev Goswami to speak, Sukadev Goswami, encouraged by the king's words, offered respect to the king and spoke with great pleasure in the assembly of sages, who desired to hear him. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 8th canto, 1st chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled The Manus, Administrators of the Universe. So this verse is bringing us to the end of this chapter of the 8th canto, 1st chapter. So in this verse, we see how Suta Goswami is being brought up as the narrator, because we know it's a story within a story within a story narration. So Suta Goswami is describing about Parikshit Maharaj's inquisitiveness and how he really wants to hear Krishna Katha from a bona fide source, who is Sukadev Goswami, who is very much eager to deliver the message of Krishna consciousness to him, who, like Prabhuji said, he has 3 out of 7 days have passed and still he's very inquisitive and wants to hear more and more of Krishna Katha. Anything material, if we think of something that's very delicious, if we eat 2 or 3 of those servings, we will be fed up of that. But if we are in the right mood for Krishna consciousness, nothing will satisfy us more than to get more and more of this wonderful Krishna Katha. So that is being shown by this great devotee Parikshit Maharaj in his inquisitiveness to hear more, and that is powering Sukadev Goswami, who is the Acharya of Kirtan, to speak more. So so the audience is actually giving more fuel to the speaker to narrate the wonderful pastimes of Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Please, if you would like to add or correct.
Thank you, Amsilastro. Very nice. So who is Suta Goswami? Well, who knows this?
Like he's the leaders of all the rishis in Naimisharanya.
Suta Goswami is the
Son of
Okay. Anyone else?
and he's the son of Romaharsha Rishi. That's what I know.
I'm not sure. Okay, nice. So he is speaking or he is asking?
speaking.
Speaking, okay. He's speaking to whom?
He's speaking to all the sages and
Sages of,
Naimisharanya.
very nice. And that is happening at Naimisharanya. Tens and thousands of sages are present. So now it's an interesting point, as Srilas Prabhu mentioned, that the audience or the hearer, the Shrota, the one who is hearing, inspires the Vakta. Vakta means speech, Uvacha. So the Shrota inspires the Vakta, and the Vakta inspires the Shrota. That is the reciprocal relationship. And we can also relate to this. For example, if you are talking to someone and that person is least interested, let's say you're explaining, even in material life or any you're explaining any point, whether to your employee in the office or to your child in that home, a good teacher will be happy when the child or the student asks good question, right? To clarify the subject matter, or to ask, oh my father, how do we really do this? I didn't get this point nicely. Can you elaborate this in more? A father or a mother will naturally feel happy, right? Do we all agree? When the child is paying attention and is asking relevant questions in the light of the subject. So the culture of hearing is very deep actually. His Holiness Bhakti Samit Maharaj has given like 3 series part on culture of hearing. So there are certain do's and don'ts we should try to follow, and we should be enthusiastic while hearing, even if the mind is running in different directions, but we show our enthusiasm because the speaker has come. Speaker is a representative of Vyasadeva, who's coming and speaking. And if we can show our enthusiasm by being enthusiastic, by being eager, by not multitasking, by paying 100% attention, by asking relevant questions, by not playing with other gadgets and other things at that point, by being attentive. So as we discussed, that Japa is a relationship, so is the relationship with Bhagavatam also, because Bhagavatam also is non-different from Kṛṣṇa. As Japa is non-different from Kṛṣṇa, or holy name is non-different from Kṛṣṇa. So if while Bhagavatam reading or hearing, if I am sleeping, or if I am playing with my phone, or if I am thinking of my office, that's also in one way aparad, right? Do you agree to that? So Parikshit Maharaj is teaching us how to hear, and it inspires. Kṛṣṇa through Bhagavatam will reveal us more based on the hunger. A hungry person can eat a lot or digest a lot, not just eating. Digest that information to lead to transformation. So encouraged by King's words. So this is a very good point, that the speaker, that is Shukdev Goswami, was encouraged and was very happy. Like a good teacher is happy to hear good questions from the student. And then he starts to speak with great pleasure, with great joy. So that what he will speak about the story of Gajendra, that will be in the next chapter. But for now, we can do a quick summary of this chapter, which is entitled Canto 8, Chapter 1. So, quick question. What does Canto 8, there are 10 subjects of Bhagavatam, what does Canto 8 mainly deal about?
Manvantaras, Prabhu.
Manvantara is very nice. And that's, the first chapter is full of that. And then Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshnam Utaya Manvantara Ishanukata Nirodha Muktirashraya. So Manvantaras. So basically this chapter opens up with Parikshit Maharaj asks about the pastimes of the Lord in various Manvantaras, or the period of Manu. Manu Antara becomes Sandhi Manvantara. So that's the quality of a devotee. He does not want to hear about Tom, Dick, and Harry. He wants to hear about Kṛṣṇa and his devotees. Krishna's pastimes, the pastimes of his devotees. That's a sign of a sincere spiritual seeker, to be always absorbed. And we have to keep in mind that Manus were not ordinary people. They're the father of mankind. They had 71 Chatur Yuga period, that is like millions of years. And they were always absorbed in hearing Krishna Katha. We read that in previous cantos about Swayambhu Manu and others. So then Swayambhu Manu's renunciation is described and his austerity is described from text number 4 onwards, that how Swayambhu Manu, after putting Priyavrat Maharaj on the position, and then first Lord Brahma had to intervene to get Priyavrat Maharaj. That is described in Canto 5, Chapter 1. But Swayambhu Manu goes to the bank of river. What was the name of the river? Who remembers?
I think
Sunanda.
Sunanda.
Sunanda. Very nice. So he goes to the bank of river Sunanda, and he was practically standing on one leg for hundreds of years. So that basically shows that he gave up all the bodily necessities like eating, sleeping, etc. And he was chanting those mantras. Basically, those mantras are like his prayers or offerings to the Lord. From text number 9 onwards to text number 13, there are prayers offered by King or Rajarishi, Swayambhu Manu, the first Manu, and he offers these prayers. The first verse we can all learn because it's also in Ishopanishad, so it's quite important. Actually, that's the second verse. First is text number 9. Text number 10 is the verse to learn. But these are all about the qualities of the Lord, that how the Lord is the one who is the creator of all the material and the spiritual worlds. But he has no creator. That means he is the creator of everyone. Sarva Karana Karanam. He's the master of all. And he knows everything and everyone, but we don't know him. And then this verse comes, Atmavasyam idam vishwam yatkinchit jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita ma kasyit magrida kasya swidhanam. That the ultimate proprietor, Krishna, is present everywhere. Atmavasyam, Ishavasyam idam sarvam, Atmavasyam idam vishwam. Same word, same pretty much, the whole verse is same. Yatkinchit jagatyam jagat. Wherever there is animate or inanimate, living or dead, Krishna is present. Non-living or living, Krishna is present. Material or spiritual, Krishna is present through his energies. Tena tyaktina bhunjita magrida kasya. One should accept one's quota and not encroach or infringe upon others' property, saying, hey, it is mine, it is mine. Because everything belongs to God. If we encroach upon others' property and claim it to be ours, it's basically thief. And in a spiritual sense, if we encroach upon anything and say it's mine, it is thief. It is stealing, because everything belongs to the Lord. So if we take something and don't use it for the welfare of the person to whom it belongs, then it is thief, stealing. For example, if someone is working in a grocery store as a cashier or as a managing the materials, and that person, rather than paying the proceeds to the owner of the grocery store, he starts to sell independently. The stuff in the grocery store does not belong to him, it belongs to the owner. But this person starts to sell and get the money in his own pocket rather than putting it to the owner. That's called stealing, right? That's basically, in material world, everything belongs to the Lord or everywhere. If we use that stuff for our own selfish purpose, then that's basically stealing in a spiritual way. That does not mean that, okay, we kind of, give up everything artificially. The point is to Krishna, to make everything Krishna conscious, whether it is our home, family, children, etc. Then the following verses talk about the super soul, how is the seer, how is the friend of all, how no one can see him, but he is seeing everyone. Interesting. So therefore, everyone should worship Suparnam Upadhavata. He's the friend of everyone, so everyone should worship. That's a conclusion of Swayambhu Manu, our father, our real father, or grandfather, or great-grandfather. Man word comes from Manu. Manushya word comes from Manu. And then he mentioned that he's beyond all these material designations or dualities. We are prone to dualities. Hey, he's my friend, he's my enemy. Hey, he's rich, he's poor. Hey, he speaks good about me, he speaks ill about me. We are caught up in the dualities. But the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees are not caught up in these dualities. He is the Supreme Master of everyone and everything. He carries out the creation. He's self-effulgent. And yet he remains always in his spiritual dham, his spiritual energy, Goloka, Vrindavan. And then there is discussion about karma to akarma and iha to aniha. That great saints, may sometimes say, hey, we could discuss this example. If you're smoking 20 cigarettes, smoke 5 cigarettes a day. So it may not be, immediately possible for someone to give up everything and start practicing pure bhakti. So even if someone is doing karma mishra bhakti, it is better than zero bhakti. So that was the point there. But then later, also the example of I think the glowworm or silkworm was mentioned, that how it is caught up, how one is caught up in one's own karma. The Supreme Lord is never caught up, and the devotees are never caught up. So that's what we should follow. Devotees who follow him are never entangled. Others are entangled in the cycle of karma, in the cycle of birth and death. So therefore, everyone must take shelter of the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees. And then from text number 17 onwards, basically there is description about the 4 Manvantaras. Who was the Devatas, who were the Manu, who were the Manuputras, who were the Sureshwara or Indra, who was the avatars like Kapila, Vibhu, Satyasena. Hare Krishna. And what were the activities of the Lord? So not going in detail because there are a lot of names there. So I don't want to complicate. The table is already shared for those who want to refer again. But the last few verses talk about, in the 4th Manvantara, the Manvantara of Tamasa, the son of Priyavrata, the Lord appeared as Hari and killed the crocodile who grabbed the elephant, the Gajendra. And then the topic changes and Parikshit Maharaj is very eager. And that's what we read actually today, that I want to hear this story in detail. What was this? Who was this elephant? What happened? And he showed great eagerness to hear. And that inspired Shukdev Goswami, and he will speak in the next chapter about this story. Any comments or questions anyone has? Any additions, reflections? A small chapter with a lot of names. But the
Will
story...
we do the quiz soon?
Yes, we'll do. We'll do. It's not yet ready, but we will do soon. How soon, I don't know. Any more thoughts, additions, questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dhanvatana. I just wanted to ask that the title of Canto 8 is Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creations. Can you just elaborate it?
The title of Canto 8 is Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creations. Withdrawal of Cosmic Creation. Not sure, Mataji. If anyone else would like to elaborate on this, I'd be happy to hear. Anyone wants to share on this? Okay. I can ask. So
Prabhuji, is it because there is a lot of punishments involved, or the Lord is coming to kill the crocodile. Then Bali Maharaj is delivered. So seemingly a little the creation is getting destroyed kind of thing with these benedictions. So is it that? I'm just speculating, sorry.
Your intelligence is more than mine because I don't know, so I can't say yes or no. I can just go with it because I can ask.
And also maybe I'm thinking, sorry, go ahead.
Someone was speaking.
Umesh Prabhu, go ahead, Prabhu.
I have a question, Prabhu. I mean, since you talk about the karma, the understanding of mine is you cannot do continuously good karma. You cannot continuously do bad karma. And even if you know the function of the karma, hence you will coming back to here. So, and then as soon as you're coming back to here, you will be entangled into these modes of material nature. So the question comes, where the question comes going back to the Godhead.
So let me clarify. You said even if one does akarma, there is coming back?
Yeah, I mean, akarma part is like if you know elevated devotee, then yes, he can try to do that akarma.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just reading some of the material, and because this process is a karma is like a non-stop, you cannot stop this process.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do continuously good karma in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot continuously do bad karma.
Oh.
So the result of that, you are coming back to here. And when you're coming back to here, you fall into the three modes of material nature.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what the thought came in my mind. Then where is the question come back to going back to the Godhead?
Yeah, very good question, Prabhu. Actually, I asked something similar to my teacher yesterday, and that I have some shortcomings. So I asked, like, I waste my time in this watching some silly videos. I'm opening up here because all of you are like my family. It is not like grossly bad, but it is silly. Like, for example, watching silly cartoon, Mr. Bean or something. It sometimes just shows up when you're watching a spiritual video and it ends and this Mr. Bean opens up. And I confessed that I'm watching this and just I don't realize 10 minutes wasted. Oh my god, 10 minutes got wasted. So I asked. So he then said that Shivilas Prabhu, that you have to stop those slowly. You have to stop if you really want to. Always be on the spiritual plane. Again, I'm not there yet, but I have a desire to get there. So therefore, we have to keep ourselves very, very busy. We have to keep ourselves very, very busy in akarma. So akarma does not mean that we give up our job. We have to make our job also transcendental. We have to make our taking care of the kids transcendental. We have to do our exercise also. We have to go to the grocery store also. We have to maintain the car also. We have to maintain the home also. We have to maintain the garden. We have to maintain our health. We have to maintain so many things, family, friends, relationships, etc. Of course, the core activities, hearing, chanting, reading, services, so many things are there in Prabhupada's movement. So the point is, yes, now one may say, well, for a pure devotee, it may sound easy, but we all do. Ultimately, we all have to aspire to become pure devotee. Now, I was reading a Jamil story, sorry, not a Jamil, Jad Bharat story, the three birds of Jad Bharat. And I was thinking about this, that he was at the penultimate stage of bhava. And he went to the forest to retire, like how Swayambhu Manu retired. But later, he got entangled in good karma, right? By saving the deer. Saving was fine, but he got so attached that he forgot his spiritual purposes. So Krishna is using him as a lesson to teach us. So, yes, good karma is entangling, bad karma is entangling. But we have to slowly try to always be on the spiritual platform. Now, this may sound difficult, and again, I'm also trying, so I'm just repeating what is expected, Paish. Now, that does not mean that we don't do our things. We do our things in a Krishna conscious way, and that becomes our karma. But if we do things in a mundane way, which are not good for our bhakti, like taking care of body is good for bhakti, but watching or wasting time is not good for bhakti. It's not helping materially, it's not helping spiritually. In the life of a devotee, everything should be spiritual. That was the point. So in that way, we can, I know it's a journey. It is certainly a journey, and we are all in that journey. So slowly and gradually, we have to see how much percentage of the time I am on spiritual platform, and how much percentage of the time of the day I am on mundane platform. How much percentage of the time I am doing things to please Krishna and Guru Dev and Guru Parampara, and how much percentage of the time I'm just trying to please my senses. Again, as I said, it's a journey, so don't, beat yourself down the bush also, like I'm speaking to myself. The goal is to understand from our mistakes, ask our authorities, and try to grow better. Does that help or complicate?
Yeah, that's it, Prabhu. But look at the bottom line. If you try to understand the bottom line and the concept of birth and death, maybe I do not have enough knowledge to understand this. That's why I will just put it.
Jad Bharat had to take 3 births, someone may have to take 10 births, someone may have to take 10 million. So that's between the devotee and Krishna, based on one's sincerity and Krishna's plan. Yes, I think Nandini Mataji and Sudhir Prabhu wanted to share something.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Shubhavilas Govind Prabhu, for a beautiful answer. This is a very nice class by Vaisheshika Prabhu on this topic, how not to waste time. If I find a link, I'll send it to you. It's really worth watching. And second thing is, I believe, again, I'm speculating too, the 8th canto ends in the fish incarnation, how the whole universe was inundated, and it was at the end of the Kalpa, this happened. So that's the story that it ends with. So that's why withdrawal of the cosmic form. I think that's why the title is that. Thank you, Prabhu Dandavats.
Thank you. That's quite appropriate explanation, Mataji. That's the last chapter. You're right. Thank you. Yes,
Yes,
Sudhir
Praveen.
Prabhu.
Actually, I was going to tell the same before Umesh Prabhu asked this question. And also we are talking about the Manvantaras, right, Prabhuji? So I was actually listening to Amarendra Prabhu's Gajendra Moksham. And in that, in the second session, he describes about this Manvantaras. So Manu Antaras. Antaras means there is a gap, Antara, between each Manu. And there is a devastation happens, and we can see that in 8th it actually has Matsya Avtara, and Vamana Avtara also comes. So there are many devastations and partial devastations in this process. That's what I also thought, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, anything else before we move on? Okay, so we will read the summary of chapter 2. Prabhu, you want to read?
Who's you're telling me?
Let's check with Prabhu if he is in a position. If not, then
Someone can read Prabhu.
someone else can read. Okay. Yeah, Bipul Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna devotees, downward pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sorry. Chapter 2, the Elephant Gajendra's Crisis. The second, third, and fourth chapters of this canto describe how the Lord, during the reign of the fourth Monu, gave protection to the king of elephants. As described in this second chapter, when the king of the elephants, along with his female elephants, was enjoying in the water, a crocodile suddenly attacked him, and the elephant surrendered to the lotus feet of the person of Godhead for protection. In the midst of the ocean of milk, there is a very high and beautiful mountain that has an altitude of 10,000 yojanas, or 80,000 miles. This mountain is known as Trikutta. In a valley of Trikut, there is a nice garden named Rumat, which was constructed by Boruna. And in that area, there is a very nice lake. Once the chief of elephants, along with female elephants, went to enjoy bathing that lake, and they disturbed the inhabitants of the water. Because of this, the chief crocodile in that water, who was very powerful, immediately attacked the elephant's leg. Thus, there ensued a great fight between the elephant and the crocodile. This fight continued for 1,000 years. Neither the elephant nor the crocodile died, but since they were in the water, the elephant gradually became weak, whereas the power of the crocodile increased more and more. Thus, the crocodile became more and more encouraged. Then the elephant, being helpless and seeing that there was no other way for his protection, sought shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Back to Guruji.
Thank you so much, Bipul Prabhu, for reading. This is a famous story we may have heard multiple times, but every time we hear, there is so many deep points to be nourished and to absorb ourselves. And this is a very, very famous chapter and famous section of Bhagavatam. So we will start reading this chapter tomorrow. This is just a summary of the whole chapter, that how Gajendra was caught and there was a big fight. And then the Gajendra's prayers are in the next chapter. So very, very beautiful episode. Any comments, questions before we stop for today?
Prabhu, I think I heard from you or some other devotee, what was the mistake done by that elephant in the previous birth? Because of that mistake, she suffered and then Vishnumurti came to protect, right?
Good question. It will come in this. Stay tuned.
Tell now, Prabhu. Just one sentence.
Nandini Mataji wants to. I think I'm waiting here.
No. I want to keep it suspense. It will be very nice.
Yes, it will be good actually. So it's curious. Then you read by yourself the whole chapter.
Okay,
Prabhuji, there is a two pages book for kids. If you want, you can read that one. That will give you the whole story.
Sure, Prabhu.
Or I'll tell you later.
There's a reason why crocodile became crocodile. There's a reason why why Gajendra's past life became Gajendra. So Everything has a reason.
No, I know, I don't know exact thing, but I heard like because of small mistake, that elephant committed very small mistake in previous life, but suffered thousands of years. So there I got stuck because it's very heavy.
The Lord has His plan. For us, we can't. He is a biggest Swarat. We think from our perspective, oh, the mistake was small, this was big. This is our relative intelligence, which is very small. We don't know what the Lord has planned. Like recently, my father or my brother was telling me that nowadays this Ravana and thing is going on. Some part of India, people are kind of saying that Ravana was actually right. And they are kind of putting a case that Ravana got injustice, Ravana got this, Ravana was the real hero, and we need justice for him. What? So that's going on. And so Ravana didn't have any problem, but these people have problem. So, because we can't understand all this, because Gahana Karmana Gatihi. The intricacies of karma are very, very complex. So we see just from this one lifetime, but it could be some 10 billion lifetimes back. We don't know. So let's leave that on the Lord. His intelligence is perfect. He is all intelligent. His strength is perfect, and his plan is perfect. There are two rules. Lord's plans are always perfect. Rule number 2, if you think no, the Lord plan was not correct, then follow rule number 1. So that's the goal. Okay, so we will pause here on this day of Ekadashi and read this wonderful chapter. Tomorrow we'll start the story in great detail. Grantraj Śrīmad-Bhāgvatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ekadashi Madhavatithi ki jai. Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhyo Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.